Welcome. I'm Becky, the spiritual healer.
And I'm Yolo, the spiritual minister for Bridging Duality Spiritual Healing Center, or BDSHC for short. BDSHC is a nonprofit, non-denominational organization that is dedicated to providing resources for those who seek a stronger connection to God and are looking for spiritual guidance, support, and healing. We help bridge the duality of the physical world and the spirit world to help people heal their connection with God so that they can spiritually transform and experience more peace, joy, and love in their life.
We offer spiritual therapy sessions, energy therapy sessions, chakra alignments, and retreats for healing. If you go to our website, bridgingduality.org, you can see our events and classes. BDSHC is donation-based, so we do not charge to attend our workshops or for our services. Our goal is to help people, but to continue helping people, we do rely on donations. So before we get to our message tonight, we're going to start by opening the God box. And just to remind you, this is a box. At home it can just be an energetic box. And anytime during our service, if something comes up for you that you know you're ready to release, you're going to throw it into this box intentionally. Use your imagination, your visualization. And then when we're all done, we're going to close it and give everything in this box to God to take care of for us. All right, so we're going to go ahead and connect in. So I invite you to close your eyes, letting go of control of everything. Deepening your inhales and your exhales. Relaxing your shoulders to the earth. Allowing any burdens that you are holding on to for whatever reason to slide off your shoulders and into the God box. God will carry them for you. There is nothing to control right now. Opening yourself up to be present in this moment. Allowing yourself to receive exactly what you are meant to receive from this message from the divine. Gently opening your eyes and your heart. And Yolo's got a divine message for us today.
All right, so today we're tackling control versus flow. And with the time that we have, we're only going to scratch the surface. So let's dive in. So what is control? It is the power to influence or direct people's behavior or a course of event. It's the idea that you can make something or do something with a certain outcome. What is the difference between guidance and control? It's important to remember that guidance and control are two different things. Guidance and control, while sometimes used interchangeably, have distinct meanings. Guidance focuses on leading or directing someone, often with the goal of empowering them to make informed decisions and develop their own capabilities. So you would guide somebody so that they can make their own decisions. Control, on the other hand, emphasizes the desire to dictate or regulate behavior, potentially limiting self-direction or autonomy. Think of it this way. Guidance is empowering others to make their own decisions, and control is dictating behaviors and outcomes through rules, restrictions, and consequences. And there are healthy and unhealthy forms of control. So what are some healthy forms of control? How about self-discipline? Choosing habits that keep you grounded, like rest, nutrition, prayer, meditation, exercise. Controlling your screen time so that you are more in the present. and so that you are more present with spirit and or your loved ones. Another healthy form of control is setting boundaries, saying no when something is not aligned, protecting your energy without needing to control how others respond. Another healthy one is intentional choices, directing your focus, time, and resources to what truly matter. For example, controlling what you give your attention to instead of letting distractions run you. And it's easy to get distracted these days. You pick up your phone, you're scrolling through it, and before you know it, you've wasted a whole hour. Okay, another healthy one is emotional regulation, choosing how to respond rather than reacting impulsively. Control doesn't mean suppressing, it means allowing your emotions to move through you without dictating your actions. For example, if you have a knee-jerk reaction, that would be unhealthy. But if you have a reaction to think it through before speaking, that would be healthy. Integration and accountability. So controlling your words and actions so that they align with your values. Owning mistakes instead of blaming or deflecting. Another healthy one is creating structure so that you can flow. Using routines or systems while leaving space to be creative and spontaneous. Scheduling time for creativity or prayer, but letting what comes through to flow. Don't control it. Protecting your inner world. Choosing what you consume. So that means conversations, media, environments, the movies, the TV that you watch, the food you put in your body, to stay in resonance with the spirit. It's really important to have self-discipline. That is a healthy form of control. So on the flip side, what are unhealthy forms of control? Forcing outcomes, obsessing over how things must happen instead of allowing space for life to unfold, trying to manipulate the timing, people, or events so that they match your vision exactly. Micromanaging, trying to dictate how others should act, feel, or even think. Often this comes from fear that other people will hurt you or make mistakes. And I had an experience, I've owned my own business, and when I first opened my studio, I wanted to manage everything. I wanted to micromanage and I wanted to do it all myself, but it just was overwhelming, and I learned that I had to rely on other people, and I had to quit micromanaging and let go and let things flow. And that just because I have a vision that it looks one way doesn't mean that it couldn't be better by letting go and allowing the collective to work together. Over planning and rigidity. No room for spontaneity. Guidance from spirit or allowing for spirit's timing. Needing everything to be planned out perfectly so that you can feel safe. Does not having a plan cause you anxiety or worry? Do you have a hard time deviating from the plan? Do you think about your plan so much that you have a hard time staying in the present? Is it unhealthy control if you prefer to have a plan? So we have two extremes here. Control comes in when we aren't flexible with the plan. Having a plan sometimes is necessary, but are you flexible with this plan? Are you staying present and allowing things to come in God's time, or are you forcing those things to happen? I had a conversation with one of my adult children, And he was telling me that he rarely ever makes plans because every time he makes plans, they just all go to crap. And it doesn't ever go the way that he expects it to. He would just prefer to go with the flow. It's easier for him because then his expectations don't get obliterated. And I reminded him that it's okay to set a plan, but flowing after that and allowing your expectations to be flow is taking it to a healthy level. I reminded him that God sometimes interrupts our plans to remind us that we need to flow. Perfectionism. Believing you must control every detail or do everything right to be worthy or secure. Do you ever give a task to someone but feel like it has to be done your way? For example, does the task have to be done exactly the way that you think it has to be done? Even if an approach will result in the same outcome, you still want it done your way versus another way. It reminds me of the old traditional math, the old school traditional math versus the new Common Core math. You're going to get the same answer, but you're coming at it in a completely different way. Do things have to be your way all the time, or are you flexible as long as you get the outcome that's necessary? That's control versus flowing. Now, emotional suppression. This is another unhealthy. Controlling your feelings or others' expectations or expressions instead of allowing them to be felt and moved through. Do you try to control other people's behavior? In this, I'm not talking about giving guidance to others or teaching children. I'm talking about forcing or controlling behaviors in others. For example, telling someone not to cry. Another unhealthy one would be withholding trust, not trusting others or spirit to do their part, so you try to do everything yourself. Do you find it hard to let someone else drive? Now, it may not seem like this is a form of control, but it is, and it's an unhealthy form of control. It has definitely been me in the past. I would get extremely car sick no matter who drove. And even sometimes when I drove, I would get car sick. So I had to drive everywhere. And I thought I was just mitigating the risk for me being sick until several years ago, Spirit brought to my attention that car sickness was an effect of me needing control, and it was unconscious. I had to do a lot of healing, releasing and letting go around control and fear. And now, gratefully, I'm able to be a passenger in the car, and it's kind of great to be a passenger princess. Another unhealthy form of control is attachment to uncertainty. Needing answers, guarantees, or predictability before taking any step. This can freeze or block you. Other forms of unhealthy control that we may not have thought about is manipulation. Are you trying to subtly control or influence somebody through manipulation? Are you using sex as a form of control? Are you telling your partner that you'll only have sex with them if they do X, Y, and Z or act a certain way? Are you withholding love or acceptance? That's also an unhealthy form of control. And also information. This is used all the time and found in media. The way that they spin a story to possibly instill fear or an ego reaction. We should always be careful with the information we share. Is it hurtful, gossip, or will it be controlling in some way? In short, unhealthy control equals grasping, fear-based, and it's very constricting. Healthy control is grounding. It's also choice-based, and it's supportive. When we are trying to control things, we are using our will and not flowing with God's will. So flow, what does flow mean? A smooth, uninterrupted movement of progress. In spiritual context, flow refers to a state of deep connection and alignment with a higher power, a sense of purpose. It's a state of being where one's actions are guided by spirit and a sense of effortless actions. And they are guided by spirit and a sense of effortlessness, often described as being in the zone or experiencing a sense of grace. Spiritually, going with the flow means surrendering to the present moment and trusting with unfolding of life rather than resisting and trying to control it. It involves a sense of acceptance, adaptability, and faith in a larger guiding force. It's about letting go of the need to control outcomes and accepting things as the way they are, without judgment and without struggle. Flow can feel effortless when things seem to fall into place with excessive struggle. When things fall into place without excessive struggle, and where your actions are powerful but natural. Flow happens when you're deeply present in the moment. When you're caught in regret about the past or anxiety about the future, you're not flowing. Flow requires surrender, trusting that life is unfolding as it should, even when you can't see the full picture. When you're in spiritual flow, you feel inspired, energized, and creative. There's a sense of being carried by something larger than yourself. Some describe it as being a river. When you're in flow, you move forward smoothly. When you resist the flow, you feel stuck or drained. How often do we go against the flow? Have you ever wondered why something was so hard? It seems like just everything goes wrong. This can be a sign that you're not flowing. You might be pushing your will instead of taking a moment to ask Spirit if you're in alignment. It's important to find a balance between control and flow. Too much control can lead to rigidity, anxiety, burnout, just as too much flow can leave you feeling ungrounded, lazy, or passive. A sweet spot is learning when to guide and when to flow. Control is useful when it comes to your actions, choices, discipline, and boundaries. Flow is necessary when it comes to receiving from spirit, outcomes, dealing with other people, helping other people, timing, and things that are larger than you. Flow is what opens the channel for spirit, life, and others to meet you where you are. When you're in flow, you're not forcing, grasping, or controlling. Instead, you're aligning with the rhythm that's already present. Receiving from spirit, flow creates openness, quiet resistance, and allows guidance, inspiration to move through you. Outcomes. When you release attachments to exactly how things must unfold, you must create space for possibilities you could not have planned for yourself. God knows the bigger picture. He knows all the working parts. If you open to flow, He can guide you. Flowing when helping or relating to people. Flow allows compassion and presence. Instead of pushing your perspective, you tune in and respond naturally. Timing. Flow helps you trust divine timing rather than fighting against the delays and rushing before you're ready. Some of us may think that we're ready right now, and why aren't things falling into place? But there are still lessons to be learned. God's timing, He knows more than we do. Trust Him. When it's a collective energy, destiny, or something that's a bigger plan, flow lets you participate without being stuck. or feeling weighed down. You might think of control as steering your own little boat. Your choices, habits, and boundaries, while flow is the river itself, carrying you further than you could go alone. Both have their place, but flow is what connects you to spirit and to the more that life is offering you. So, what are some ways that we can release the constriction of controlling? Well, you can pause, take a breath, close your eyes, inhale, and exhale slowly, collecting yourself and bringing you back to the present moment. Release control with words. You can silently or out loud say something like, I release the need to control. I'm open to what Spirit has for me. I trust in divine timing. I let go of the outcome. You can use the God box to release and let go of any beliefs that you have around control. Get to the root of why you need control. Is it fear? Is it trust? Release all those thoughts, feelings, beliefs around the root of your need to control. And shift your attention to flow. Focus on your heart space and connect to Spirit and grounding yourself to God. Over time, this retrains your nervous system to recognize the difference between gripping control and trusting flow. You can also use your body as a guide. Tight jaws, tight shoulders, clenched fists, that's likely too much control. Feeling scatterbrained, unmotivated, or drifting, you're likely flowing too much. Your body often tells you when to rebalance. Imagine you're sailing. Flowing is like the wind in your sails. It carries you further than you ever could row alone. Control is steering the rudder and timing the sails, aligning yourself to the wind so that it can actually take you where you're meant to go. If you only control with no flow, you're rowing endlessly and exhaustively. If you only flow with no control, you drift aimlessly, never landing. Together, you're guided to empowerment. Okay, so here is a practical example. You want a new job. You update your resume, you apply, you show up for interviews, and that's the control part. The flow part is you release the how, the when, and you stay open to unexpected opportunities, and you trust in God's divine timing. In short, control equals effort, and flow equals alignment. When you blend them, you more gracefully move in the direction of alignment and what you're supposed to be doing. Try to find the balance. By trying to control everything, you are not allowing God to guide you. Release all that needs to be released and stop trying to control everything in your life. Subconsciously, you might think, if I hold on to it, then I can fix it. Instead, realize that if you let it go and give it to God, He can fix it and do a much better job of fixing it than you ever could. Balance is key. It will take practice. You've got this, and I believe in you. And it is so, and so it is.
Thank you, Gilda. That really resonated with me. As we know, I've definitely worked on letting go of unhealthy control. And I've done a lot of releasing into the God box over that in the last couple years so that I can learn how to flow a little bit better. All right, so let's allow for some expansion. Again, I invite you to close your eyes. And as you open your heart space even wider, allow today's divinely timed message to fill you up. Allowing it to activate you in a way that only Source can. Letting God's energy, love, and words integrate within you, opening up to the possibility of more flow in all areas of your life, knowing that you will be divinely guided on how to flow.
All right, so with that alarm, we're going to do some affirmations. I am statements are very powerful. They impress upon the subconscious mind and help shape one's identity and reality. The author David Allen said, "Be aware of what you tie to your I am." This is a very powerful tool of calling the creative process into flow. So I'm going to say some affirmations. You can repeat after me or write them down and say them to yourself. Ready? I am open to the present moment and its gifts. I release preconceived notions of how life should be. I trust the natural flow and timing of my life. I release the need to control outcomes and allow things to unfold. Today, I will be sensitive to the voice of the Creator and His promptings. I will remain open to new possibilities and experiences. I trust the Holy Spirit to guide me in all areas of my life. I am grateful for the ease and joy that flow into my life. My actions are right and natural. I am in a state of flow. I let go of resistance and embrace change as a gateway to growth.
All right, so before we close up, we're going to take a moment to close the God box, knowing that everything we put in there tonight, any energy, thoughts, feelings, beliefs, we're giving that up to God, and we're asking with love and gratitude for God to take care of it, to transmute it, to transform it into love and light for us. All right, we're going to go ahead and close with a prayer. Thank you, Source, for your perfect message today. We are so grateful for your ever-present guidance in our lives. We pray that we will know, feel, or hear your voice this week as we learn to flow and stay connected to your love. Help us to uplift others with your divine flow. And so it is.
And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you for being here. You are loved.
Sending you love and light so you can build your bridge.